Hello everyone, I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Monday. Today I'm coming in with the weekly Minks Monday Q&A. Before we get started, let me show the bag that I'm currently rocking, and that is a Celine Nano luggage tote. Alright, so grab your coffee, grab your tea, let's start your workout, let's go to work, let's do your laundry, whatever it is that you do, come join me. We have some awesome topics to cover today. Now I will let you guys know it might be a little bit darker, so my apologies if the lighting isn't the best. It's about 9:30 at night, my hair is a mess, my makeup's a mess, but you know what? Let's get this show on the road, right? Alright, let's get started with the very first question from Kathy Durant. Do you think luxury YouTubers and other influencers on social media try and keep up with the Joneses or one-up each other? Sometimes I feel like they buy just to buy and show off that they have something better than their friends. All right, so that is a loaded question, but it is an awesome question nonetheless. I feel that there are luxury YouTubers and social media influencers that don't need to keep up with the Joneses because they are the Joneses, you know what I mean? Especially when you hear about their background or where they come from. But I'm not here to try to say anything about anybody else. I only want to talk to you about my personal experience. And before I get into this question any further, this kind of came up on Instagram last week. I do not consider myself a luxury YouTuber, not at all. I know some of you might be thinking I'm crazy, but for me, yeah, I like handbags and small leather goods and some shoes, but every single other aspect of my life is incredibly non-luxurious. And I will admit that years and years ago, I fell down the rabbit hole. And I was buying just to buy. We've talked about this before with the gimmies. And it was kind of like this obsession, and it kind of, I felt like the bags wore me instead of me wearing the bags, if that makes any sense. And I had a really harsh reality, a slap in the face, because I don't have the economic possibility to even try to keep up with the Joneses. And for the sake of being completely transparent with you guys, my bank account took a major beating when I was younger. And it took a lot of trial and error, and it took a lot of, hey, wake up, this, you know, you can't do this, for me to realize that I have to stick to what I like, and I have to stick to what ends up working out for my lifestyle and not try to live within my means. You know what I mean? And like I said before, a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but I think that, you know, like I said before, I like to be honest with you guys, and I feel like this is a conversation that I'm having with friends. But that harsh reality took me a long time to get my finances in order and to be able to figure out, hey, this is what I can do and this is what I can't do. And I also feel that, you know, I was buying just to buy. I was buying because I thought it would be really, I thought it was really beautiful. Was it functional? No. I lost a ton of money, and you know, I wasn't very responsible with what it is that I was buying for myself. And now I feel like the older that I get, I'm extremely picky about what I end up adding to my collection, and I have to ensure that it's going to work out for me. And I just, you know, I try to enjoy my items and not worry about anything else, you know? So if someone ends up buying their items because they're trying to keep up with, you know, Billy Bob and Sally Sue, that's great. You know, to each their own. If that makes you happy, keep on doing you. But just for me and what ends up working out for my lifestyle and for my bank account, it's about saving. It's about being very picky as to what I add, and ensuring that whatever it is that I do add, it's because I like it and not because someone else tried to influence me or tried to say that I should get it and that my collection isn't complete unless I don't have it, type of thing. You know what I mean? So fantastic question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. Next question from the Tsu Mommy. Hopefully I said that correctly. I have a feeling I butchered it. My apologies, but you used to be the N1R1, if I'm not mistaken, the person that is responsible for handbag of the week. So anyways, your question is, I've noticed you haven't added a belt/bun bag to your collection yet. I know it's the trend, but what do you think about the Louis Vuitton bum bag? Do you like it? Would you consider getting one? Fantastic question. Before we get any further, let me insert a picture of the Louis Vuitton bum bag right now. I love the Louis Vuitton bum bag. I think it is incredible. I think it is beautiful. I love the fact that you can be hands-free. However, I cannot do it justice to save my life. I love the way that it looks on other people. On myself, it looks like a freaking nightmare. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's necessarily because I have a larger chest. So I tried it on, and because of my chest, when I go to put it on, I look even more frumpy. And I try to avoid that. I try to avoid that as much as possible, but it looks like a mess. It looks like, I have no idea. It looks horrible, absolutely horrible on me. But when I see other people, I mean, I'm just like, oh man, it looks great. Like Jen or Sabina or my friend Monique, all of those girls. They have the bum bag and it looks awesome on them, but I just can't do it justice. And I think if I had a different body frame, absolutely I would rock it, or not necessarily rock it, but I think I'd feel more comfortable using it. But as of right now, I love it. I think it's great. It's not very flattering on myself. So fantastic question. Hopefully I was able to answer it. Next question from Nell R. I was fortunate enough to find the all black lambskin espadrilles and the beige with the black cap toe in lambskin as well. I bought both because it's rare for me to actually find them in the store. I purchased them in the size 36. It's snug but not too uncomfortable. I'm normally a US 6 in women's shoes. Did you notice it stretched to the point where it becomes too loose or just slightly stretches out? All right, so this is an awesome question, but major congratulations on your espadrilles. Okay, so here I have my all black lambskin espadrille, so we have a little bit more eye candy. And I am a size 9 in the US. I went for a 40 because I tried on the 39 and it was just way too uncomfortable. I felt like I couldn't move my toes around. I also felt like I instantly started to get a headache just from them being a little too tight. And when I first got them, I had to use a shoehorn. And I feel that with the lambskin, they stretch out the fastest more than any other material or any other material that the espadrilles are made of. So the break-in period, in my opinion, is very short. But like I said, I had to use a shoehorn, and now it's gotten to the point where I don't need to use my hand. I don't even need to use a shoehorn. I don't need to use anything. I just kind of plop them on. They're kind of like slip-ons, and I'm able to wiggle my foot around and poof, they're on my feet type of thing, which is really nice. So they're still not to the point, in my opinion, where they're too loose and I'm walking around and I might end up getting blisters because they're too loose type of situation. They still end up, you know, being on my feet, very comfortable, and I'm really happy that I ended up going for the 40 instead of the 39. So as you can see, I've had these for, I think I've had them for 3.5 years now. No, not that long. Maybe, I have no idea. But I've had them for a while and I've used them to death because they're kind of, I kind of dubbed them my travel shoes. I've been able to walk around in them for hours and hours. No issues with blisters, no issues with like the heel giving me any problems or anything like that. And as you can see, they've kind of stretched out a little bit on the front here, on the, especially not so much on the toe box, but more so here and a little bit on the back side. It's a little bit saggy, but I still feel that for as long as I've had them and for as much as I've used them, I think that they've aged very gracefully, don't you? So no, I don't think that they stretched out too bad to the point where they're like crazy loose. But for me, it was mostly about how I felt in the beginning, because I know that if I would have gone for the 39, they probably would have been a little bit more snug now after using them, you know, for a while. But I just could not get over how tight I felt that they were on my toes, you know, and if my toes are like all bunched up, it doesn't make for a very comfortable footwear for myself. So great question. Hopefully I was able to answer it. Next question from Lizette Sanchez. Do you have handbags that you enjoy that are not so expensive? Would you consider doing a video on handbags under $300? I would love to see you do a video on this topic. All right, so first and foremost, awesome video suggestion. I am totally down to do a video with handbags under $300 for sure. Do you have handbags that you enjoy that are not so expensive? I absolutely do. Kind of like what we talked about last week with the Longchamp I love, love, love Longchamp, and I cannot recommend them enough. I do have two in my collection, and I think that they are great, and they're very carefree and also incredibly durable. So I think those are awesome. I also have two others that that I absolutely love is this beauty, which is the Furla Julia, right? The Julia. This bag is incredible. It has an awesome, awesome price point, and it's worn incredibly wonderful. No issues with varnish, no issues with like it peeling or anything like that. No problems with the tarnish on the hardware either. But this bag is great, and I love the fact that it does have the little credit card slots on the interior, so that way I can kind of maximize my space. And there is only like a little like lump and bump on the back just from the plate that it has on the interior. But other than that, no, this thing is absolutely fabulous, and I'm so bummed out that I wasn't able to get the white one that I was looking for during the summertime. But next year, there's always next year, and yeah, I really, really want to get a white one of these. But the Furla Julia is great. And last but not least, this beauty, the Pollen #1 Mini. This bag is awesome, and besides the Furla, I would have to say that this is probably one of the best purchases that I've made this year. I think it is incredible. I am head over heels in love with the color. I think it's perfect. I like the combination of the hardware, and this one also has a really, really great price point. I know it's a tad higher than the 300. It retails for $330, but in general, I think it's great. I also had a lot of you guys, this is kind of like a side note, but I had a lot of you guys ask me about the chain and if it's comfortable. And if you end up filling this bag to the brim, kind of like what I did on that unboxing video, you will be able to feel the chain. It'll start to get really, really heavy. So what I end up doing is if I end up carrying a little bit more with me, I use this bag crossbody, and I really feel that that really ends up helping to not dig into my shoulder or anything like that. You know, or if you end up carrying a little bit less, you wouldn't be able to feel the chain. But again, if you end up carrying a lot with you, it will definitely end up kind of like weighing down your shoulder. But I love this bag. I think it's great, and yeah, I think it's amazing. I can't say enough about that one, or the Julia, or the Longchamp. So, I mean, that's just kind of, that's the tip of the iceberg when it comes to some of the bags that are under 300. Like I said, this one's a little bit, just a tad more expensive. But I think it would be really great to do a video like that. So if you guys want me to do that, let me know in the comment section down below. And unfortunately, I don't have some of the really popular handbags that have phenomenal price points either. So I might have to get some pictures and incorporate those as well. But fabulous, fabulous video suggestion, and hopefully I was able to answer your question. Next question from Pink Ice Princess 87. How many designer bags do you currently own? Do you find yourself not using them all on a consistent basis? Do you ever get bag anxiety having so many? All right, great question. How many designer bags do I currently own? I do believe I counted about 30. That's including the wallet on chains from Chanel, Gucci, and Dior, not including the daily pouch or the pochette voyage that I would normally end up using like as a little clutch. So give or take about 30. Do you find yourself not using them all on a consistent basis? I don't think so. I think for the most part, the bags that I currently have, I really do try my hardest to rotate them as much as possible and to try to incorporate them into various aspects of my life. So I think I'm pretty good about it. I used to be really bad. I used to stick to like 3 or 4. But no, I try to give them each their moment in the sun. Do you get bag anxiety having so many? I don't. I know some people do, but I don't. Like I said before, I feel that I can really rotate them and be able to incorporate them into various aspects. And, you know, as crazy as it's going to sound, sometimes I really look forward into switching out of a certain bag. Like if, I've said it before, sometimes I change my bags depending on the weather. Other times I end up changing my bags depending on my mood. But like when it's raining, I'm like, ooh, I get to wear this. And you know, if I'm really happy, excited, or whatever, I'll go for a really loud pop of color, or I don't know. But no, I don't have any bag anxiety, and I'm having a lot of fun with the ones that I currently have. So fantastic question. Hopefully I was able to answer it. Next question from Linda Valdez. How do you stuff your Chanel GST? I have the Louis Vuitton flower tote with the exact same shape, but notice that my corners are starting to sag just a tad like yours. All right, so great question. And here I brought out the Chanel GST. And this one I've also had for quite some time. And I think I've done a pretty good job of keeping the sagging from getting too bad, because some of these you see on the pre-loved market and they're really like smashed down, but it has a very slight sag there. It's actually a little bit more noticeable there. All right, so are you ready to see how I stuff my bag? Bam, check it out. There are a bunch of different sizes, different colored air paper, but I feel that, again, that I'm really trying to prolong the life and the structure of this bag. And what I really tried to do, the key in my opinion, is to have the air paper be in every single corner as much as possible. That way it kind of fills this a little bit more and you're not stuck with having too much empty space to where it could cause it to sag a little bit more. But check it out. And like I said, I have different sizes. Some are a little bit shorter. I know I get a lot of questions on the type of air paper. This is Air Plus from Storopack. I don't know. These guys, I have green ones. I think I even have bubble wrap in here. There's really no rhyme or reason, but I've been using this same air paper and the same bubble wrap in this bag, and I'm just kind of afraid to do anything different. And yeah, I feel like it's really helped, right? Right? It's aging very, very gracefully. So hopefully that's able to help. But again, I would really recommend to ensure that you end up covering the corners as much as possible, so that way you don't have that empty space. And I also don't use any air paper in this little pocket here or anywhere else. It's pretty much in these two compartments. And yeah, so fantastic question, and hopefully I was able to help. Next question from Anna Bananas. I just reached my goal saving up for the Chanel Medium Classic Flap, but I have a dilemma. I had a chance to see and try on the Petite Malle in the Louis Vuitton store yesterday. I love it as well. Please help me in deciding which I should go for. All right, so before I get any further, let me insert a picture of the Louis Vuitton Petite Malle right now. And so we have a little bit more eye candy. Here's the Chanel Medium Classic Flap in the black caviar leather with the silver hardware. All right, so I think both bags are incredibly wonderful. Both of them can transition very nicely from day to night. Both of them are iconic. Both of them offer a lot of history, so they have a lot of pros. Now, as far as the Petite Malle, there's so many things that I appreciate about this bag. I love the fact that it looks like a little mini trunk. I love the craftsmanship, the attention to detail, the history that it has, as I said before. And I also like the fact that it comes with a removable adjustable strap. I think that was very, very smart on their behalf, because it gives you a lot more versatility. It gives you a lot more play. And I also like the fact that there's a variety to choose from. You can go for epi leather, you can go for exotic leather, you can go for this, you can go for that. There's so many different details. So depending upon your personality, I feel like you have options. You know, you're not limited to just one type. So I think that's great. And when it comes to the medium large, as many of you know, this is one of my all-time favorite handbags. I find it to be incredibly comfortable. I like to rock this in a formal setting. I like to rock this with, you know, my t-shirt and jeans and sneakers type of thing. And I know a lot of people aren't too fond of this one just because of the size that it is. They feel like they can't really get away with too much, especially when it comes to the double flap. But for me, I personally appreciate the double flap because I think that it ends up helping to maintain its shape and it doesn't necessarily end up sagging too much. And I still feel that I can carry the daily essentials that I need in there. You know, I'm not limited to just carrying one little wallet or, you know, one little key pouch or anything like that either. And you also have a little bit of play when it comes to the strap, because you can either use it as one long strap or you can use it as a double strap. I think that with this one, it's a little bit harder to get away with using it crossbody. I know on myself it looks somewhat funky. Sometimes I feel like the bag is kind of choking me out type of thing, you know, so I can't really do it too much justice. I think it depends on your body frame, but for me, because of my chest, again, sometimes it looks a little awkward. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but for me still, I love this bag, and even though I like other bags in my collection, this one just always ends up being, you know, on top. Now, like I said before, it's all a matter of personal preference, because I feel that it's a matter of what it is that you see yourself carrying with you in that bag. And with a Petite Malle, even though it is a smaller bag, and I've said it before, I don't like to judge a size of the bag because sometimes you can end up packing a punch. You're still somewhat limited as to what you can end up fitting in there. So if you see yourself carrying maybe a little bit more, you don't have as much play when it comes into the Petite Malle versus the medium, because with this one, you can carry a little bit more or a little bit less. It'll end up carrying more than the Petite Malle. So again, if you end up seeing yourself carrying a lot more with you, the medium might be the way to go. But if you end up carrying just the bare essentials and you're a huge fan of Louis Vuitton, then I think think that going for the Petite Malle would be a really, really great way as well. But either one, I think that they are incredibly beautiful. Like I said, they're very, very iconic, and I wish you luck, and hopefully this was able to help, but fantastic question. Next question from LED. What is your opinion on the small Chanel Business Affinity bag? Fantastic question. Let me insert a picture of the Chanel Business Affinity right now. I'm a huge fan of the Business Affinity, whether you go for the small one or even the larger sizes. I think it is a beautiful, beautiful bag, and it has a lot of function to it, especially for the price point and it being a Chanel. But when we were in Hawaii last year, I got the opportunity to kind of play around with it, and I fell in love with this bag. I know some people don't like it because they think it's maybe a little bit, too mature. I don't think so. I like the fact that you have a really large compartment, and then you also have a zippered compartment on the front, and it's also very, very comfortable. I didn't feel that it was digging into my shoulder. I tried on various sizes, and I was able to fit all of my daily essentials in there, plus a little bit more, even into the smaller ones. So it's very, very deceiving, kind of like what I talked about with the Petite Malle. But I think it's beautiful. I like the fact that it has a little bit of quilting, and then you have just the other leather around it, so that way it doesn't necessarily make it too busy in my opinion, and it doesn't really take away from the beauty either. You know what I mean? I think it kind of enhances it a little bit more just because it has just the right amount of quilting and it's not too overwhelming. But I don't know, I like the simplicity that it has, and I also I feel that you can end up carrying it either as a crossbody bag on your shoulder, you can use it as a little mini handbag, so it has quite a bit of versatility as well. So yeah, I am definitely a fan, and I also feel that it's very secure. So you have you have the zippered pocket, as I said, in the front, and you also have that flap that goes on top of it, so that way you don't necessarily have to worry that your bag is a little too exposed either. So I think it's great, and if you decide to go for it, I think it'll make a fabulous addition to your collection. So fantastic question. Hopefully I was able to answer it. And the last question from Anna Kim. I think you did reviews in the past of the Hermes Bastia and the Louis Vuitton round coin purse. Can you do an update on how they are holding up, and if you recommend one over the other? Also, what are your thoughts on the Calvi? All right, so wonderful, wonderful questions. And so we have even more eye candy. Here I have the Louis Vuitton round coin purse and the Hermes Bastia. Now, between the two, personally, I prefer the Louis Vuitton round coin purse. I like the fact that you have a zippered closure. I feel that it gives you a little bit more security. I know some people aren't too fond of this just because they feel that they have to dig in to get their change, but it doesn't bother me one bit, and I'm able to carry this in my smaller handbags and my larger handbags, no problem. So this one to me is definitely my choice when it comes to a coin purse. When it comes to the Bastia, I can't tell you the last time that I used this. I do think that it's incredibly durable, especially in the Epsom leather. I do believe that this is in the Bougainvillea, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to the color. It's very, very vibrant, and I'm just not too crazy about the fact that, I mean, yeah, you put your change in there, and this little tray here on the front, it kind of catches it, so that way you don't have to dig into the change purse, kind of like the Louis Vuitton one. It makes it a little bit easier to do it that way. But I had the hardest time because I felt that this guy constantly kept flipping open, and my change would end up going everywhere. I actually had it happen twice. I kind of did this, and the change ended up going this way onto the first flap, but then when I went to close it, I was trying to be as careful as I possibly could, so that way all the coins can go back into the main compartment, and they ended up going everywhere. And I don't know if it's necessarily because I didn't have the patience for it, but I think it's a beautiful, beautiful coin purse. I think they have awesome, awesome colors. Like I said, they're very, very durable, but like I said before, I can't remember the last time that I used it, and even though I think it's beautiful, I personally prefer the Louis Vuitton round coin purse. But again, that's just me, that's just my 2 cents. Now, as far as the Calvi, what are my thoughts on it? Here I have a Calvi in the Epsom leather. I do believe that this is the color rose purple. No, I'm not going to say it in French because I will butcher it. So I think it's a little too early for that. But my thoughts on the Calvi, I think this is an incredible, incredible card holder. I cannot recommend it enough. I think it is, I mean, it is awesome. I do have I have 2 in my collection, and I use them constantly. I'm able to use them in my smaller handbags and my larger handbags, no problem. And what I really like about this is that it's very, very simple, incredibly durable, again, because it is the Epsom leather. And I can get away with carrying, no joke, anywhere from like 25 to 30 cards, no problem. No problem. I know a lot of people aren't too fond of the fact that you don't have compartments and you can't really see all the cards that you have at a glance. You have to dig through them. To me, it doesn't bother me one bit because I feel like with this, I can carry just as much as I would carry in a large zip wallet. I mean, everything from insurance cards, my driver's license, credit card. Sometimes I am able to fit cash in here. I fit coupons in here, no problem. But I love this. I love this. And I think a lot of people aren't too crazy about it, you know, just because it's very simple. And as I said before, because it doesn't have too much organization to it. But I think it's awesome. I think it's wonderful. And yeah, it's definitely one of my top small leather goods. So that was a little bit of a tangent when it came to the Calvi, right? But fantastic question. Hopefully I was able to answer it. All right, you guys, so that does it for Minks Monday Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I was able to help. You guys had some awesome questions this week, and my apologies that it's a little bit shorter than I would normally end up doing it. My throat is still bothering me immensely from last week, so hopefully it ends up getting a little bit better. But yeah, you know, I know it's really late at night. Sometimes I feel I get a little bit kookier as the day goes by, so my apologies if I was kind of like all over the place, but what can I say? This is me. But for this week's lineup, I have the handbag of the week, and I don't know what I'm going to do for the 3rd video, but regardless, you guys will see me again. So again, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already and you would like to, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the red button down below and hitting that bell so you're notified when I upload videos, which is anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not, the choice is yours. Have a great day, you guys.